everyone. Based on the situation given, there are some questions that I want to ask you. First of all, can you explain what is actually Mars model?
Okay, the Mars model of individual behavior states that behavior is a reflect of motivation, ability, role perception, and situational factors. If any factors weaken, so it will decrease the employee performance. The Mars model are very much affected by individuals' characteristic, which is values, personality, perception, emotion, values, and attitudes. Okay.
Alright, so in your opinion, why people do not assign their work and what is the possible reasons for absenteeism?
Okay, the employees may be away from assigning their work because they don't want to attend the work that day, which is related to their motivations. Secondly, they don't realize that this is their work day, which is related to wrong perceptions. And thirdly, it is because the environmental conditions prevent them from attending works, which is related to situational factors. You are asking me about the possible reasons for absenteeism. I think firstly we must know that there is a clear distinction should be made between voluntary and involuntary absenteeism. Voluntary absenteeism is when employees have a choice of working or not to working, but they intentionally decide to miss work on reason like boredom on the job, or they don't like their co-workers, or more likely their boss. In the meanwhile, involuntary absenteeism is when employees miss work for reasons beyond their control. For example, is serious illness and accidents, transportation troubles, and family matters such as childcare and marital problems.
Alright, so the last question from me, how to reduce the absenteeism?
Okay, I think the workers need to be consequences for not showing up to work, and the management need to give out the consequence fairly. Besides, a reward program, bonus, or even recognition should be held for those with perfect attendance. Lastly, the organization should create a conducive and effective work environment in order to attract people to come to work. Okay, that's all.
Alright.
Based on question 2, I want to ask you a few questions. The first one is, what are the potential benefits and pitfalls associated with identifying competencies?
Alright, so first of all, what is competency? Competency are a signal from the organization to the individual of the areas and level of performance that the organization expects. They provide the individual with a map of the behaviors as well as the skill that will be valued, recognized, and in some organization rewarded. So the potential benefits of identifying the key competencies are they can link organization and personal objectives and ensure the employees are clear about how they are expected to perform in their jobs. They can also make the appraisals and recruitment system fairer and more open, and differences between level, job, title, and grades. Competency can be standardized across organization and geographical boundaries, enabling staff to transfer more easily within the organization. Link can also be made to professionally based competency, enabling clearer comparison when moving between organizations. Alright, for example, for employers, a competency framework can help to make an organization more cohesive by breaking down traditional professional boundaries. For example, link can be established between different professionals that share similar competencies enabling more efficient and effective working across traditional boundaries. Example, licensing, environmental health, and trading standard of nursing and social care. And the last benefit, competency help to target scarce training and development resources more effectively and encourage individuals to take more responsibility for their own development. Okay, and there are three categories of pitfalls such as insufficient planning, inadequate competency model, and poor education.
Okay, let's move on to the second question. Are there any alternatives to selecting employees rather than by identifying their competencies?
Alright, there are some alternative ways to selecting employees rather than identifying their competency based on their book and title. First, break all the rules. From the Gallup research, he recommends a different approach to increasing each person's total performance based on the strength-based approach. Okay, this approach, we must not to try to identify the competency required for each role. Instead, identify the outcome expected of each role. Don't try to select people based on whether they possess the required competency. Instead, identify the natural talent common to the best in each key role and design interviewing system to select people who possess similar talent to your best. Don't measure each person on the required competency. Instead, measure each person on the required outcome. Don't identify which competency each person lacks. Instead, identify each person's areas of talent and non-talent. Don't encourage each person to improve in his area of non-talent. Instead, encourage each person to strengthen his talent with skills and knowledge. Then find ways to manage around his areas of non-talents. Don't label each employee's weakness, his areas of improvement. Instead, apply the label to his area of talent. A person's greatest opportunity for improvement lie in his talent, not his weakness. And finally, don't grade each person next year on whether he has improved on the required competency. This is mere mimicry. Instead, rate each person on whether he has improved on the required outcome. So this is the real performance. That's all.
Okay, thanks.
Identify and explain any four cultural value dimensions by Gerd Hofstede.
Okay. There are four cultural value dimensions that I can obtain based on the research by Gerd Hofstede. Okay, the first one is Power Distance Index, which is known by acronym by PDI. Okay. The Power Distance Index is a kind of index that the extent to which the less powerful numbers of the extent to which the less powerful members of organizations and institutions accept and also expect that power is distributed unequally. Okay. Based on this index, the higher degree will indicate that the hierarchy is clearly established and executed in society without doubt or any reasons. While the lower degree of this index signifies that people are questioning the authority and attempt to distribute power. Okay. The second value of dimensions is individualism versus collectivism, also known as IDV. This index explores the degree to which people in a society are integrated or not into groups. The individualism side that society lose ties that often only states an individual to his or her immediate family, that emphasizing on single person view, while the collectivism states that a society in which tightly integrated relationships tie extended families and also other into groups laced with loyalty and supporting between all the members of the society. The third one is Uncertainty Avoidance Index, which is also known as UAI. Also, it's a society's tolerance for ambiguity, in which people embrace or avert an event of something unexpected, unknown, or also away from the status quo. A society that scores a high degree in this index optimised for stiff codes of behavior, guidelines, laws, and generally rely on absolute truth. The lower degree for this index shows more acceptance on differing thoughts and ideas. And the last one is masculine against femininity. Masculinity defined as a preference in society for achievement, heroism, assertiveness, and material rewards for success, while the femininity is preference for cooperation, modesty, caring for a weak, and quality of life. Both of these factors can be concluded as a recognition of gap between male and female values. That's all for the question.
Okay, thank you. On my next question, can you state 3 errors that could arise with the visiting professor statement?
Okay, thank you for the question. There are 3 errors. The first one is when he said that people with high collectivism must have low individualism. The second one is we can determine a person's cultural values by their nationality. And the third error is he only relying on only one factor without stating other factors on concluding that we can determine a person based on nationality. So that's all the 3 errors that I can found based on the visiting professor's statements.
Okay, can you explain the 3 errors that have you stated?
Okay, the first error is people with high collectivism must have low individualism. This is a widely held belief that researchers have found to be untrue. Statistically, the correlation is nearly zero, which is uncorrelated between the two concepts. In other words, a person's level of collectivism is unrelated to his or her level of individualism. Someone with high collectivism might also have a high, low, or also medium individualism, for example. And for the second error, which is we can determine a person's cultural values by their nationality. This relates on the logical fallacy that everyone in a society has the same values. That is, all societies are homogeneous. While this assumption may be true in some countries, as in the example, in the country that is particularly isolated or lack of immigrants activities, but it certainly doesn't apply to United States and many other countries, as they are modern countries and also have high numbers of immigrant activities. People have diverse value within the United States, so statements about America's cultural values represent very broad of generalizations. And the third error is he rely on only one factor in making conclusions that he include in his statement. This is totally wrong because he also must state or another factor that it could be the what we call so-called other characteristic of the citizen of the country. This is important in order to determine whether the statement is accurately stated or just personal perception. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.